Yo, what is up, everybody? This is the highlight reel, the championship run. Excited for day 2. Our first hand, we get ace king on the button. We raise pre-flop. Don't really hit anything on the flop. Someone's being aggressive, so we decide to fold out. Don't want to get too frisky too early. Our next hand, we call a raise with 5-8 of diamonds. Flop 2 pair. Get to the turn, everyone folds out. We're good. Our next hand, we get jack ace suited. We decide to re-raise on the flop, instant call, and then we flop top pair with a flush draw. We end up going all in for our first double up. All good, they miss the flush. We got a healthy stack. We sit back for a few hands, then we get king 10 of spades. We end up getting raised by the small blind to 1,000. We call flop 2 pair. We check on the flop. We get a raise on the turn. We decide to re-raise. He calls 6 on the turn, check, check, and we're good. We sit back, a few more hands go by, and then we wake up with ace king suited. We 3-bet flop, small stack goes all in, and we decide to call. Flop the flush draw and river the straight. Luckily we're good. And then we get ace 5 off. We decide to look at a flop. We decide to go ahead and call the whole way down. We river a 5. We didn't put them on much, and luckily we were right. We were good. We get a whole lot of nothing for a minute, and then we get ace queen offsuit. We end up raising pre-flop, but nobody calls. And then we get queen 8 suited. We decide to bluff the whole way at it. Ends up not being such a good bluff. Unfortunately, the other player ends up having pocket 10s for a set, and we had no shot. Luckily, we wake up with ace 9 the next hand, flop top pair. We end up turning the boat, but no call on the turn. After that, we get king jack off. We call the pre-flop raise, 3 players to the flop, and we flop top pair. We raise the flop, re-raise big, and then after there's a large call, we just check it the rest of the way, and luckily, king jack holds up. Shortly after we commit to the stupidest bluff of our whole tournament, we tried to put this pressure on the small stack. We bluffed the flush on the river, get called, no good. After the break, we come back and we're card dead for a little bit, and then we decide to play 5-6 of diamonds. We flop flush draw, we turn straight draw, and then we miss everything on the river, other better shoves, and we have to get out. After briefly going card dead, we get pocket 9s, and we decide to call pre-flop raise and go to the flop. We c-bet in early position to see how we're feeling, and luckily they fold. Next hand, we limp with 3-5 suited, 3x raise, and we decide to call and look at a flop. We flop 2 pair, we turn the straight draw, we end up checking on the river, they raise, we call, and luckily we're good. Then we get pocket queens. Nightmare flop for us, and unfortunately we check it all the way down, ace jack is good. Sit out of a couple hands, and wouldn't you know, those bitches come right back. We min raise pre-flop, and wouldn't you know it, another ace high board. We raise 1 time, we check it down, and luckily this time queens are good. We sit back for a minute until we get ace 7 off. We decide to look at a flop. We end up getting the straight draw, we bet it, everybody folds. 2 hands later, we wake up with ace 8 suited. We raise pre-flop, we get a couple callers, then we look at a flop, ace high board with an 8 to go with it, and nobody calls. Next, we get pocket 10s on the big blind. Pre-flop raiser, we 3-bet, and we get 1 caller to the flop. 2 9s on the flop, and they shove. We decide to call, and luckily we get insurance on the turn. And almost right away we get pockets again, but this time it's 7s, and we end up flopping a set. We bet the whole way. The other player tanks on the river for quite a minute, and unfortunately he ends up finding the fold. There was something in the air because we get pockets again. This time it's 6s. We look at the flop, we miss everything, we look at the turn, and then they shove, so we had to get out. Then we decide to limp with 7-9 off. We completely miss everything, ended up going runner boat against pocket 8s. We take down. Can't make this up. With such a big stack, and after that bluff, I decided to sit out, and wouldn't you know it, we fold winner after winner. We end up flopping a set with queens. And literally next hand, big all-in shove with ace 10 suited, and we flop the straight on a nightmare board. Some hands fly by, and then we get ace jack off, we limp in, and we decide to bluff the whole way into a runner straight for a huge pot. We literally next hand we decide to go in with pocket fives. We end up hitting a 5 on the river and cracking kings for the higher boat. And we just went from 40K to 180,000. At this point we go card dead, and then we end up getting ace 5 suited into 2 all-ins. And had this been a bounty tournament, I probably would have called, but I end up tanking and folding. The board ends up coming out king high, and luckily it was a very good fold. The next hand I go in with ace 4 off, and I don't know what got a hold of me, but I bluffed the whole way and ended up getting cracked. So after that we sat back for a minute and just decided to wait it out. The break goes by, and the first hand we end up playing is going to be king queen off. We limp our way into a 2-pair straight board, and then we end up seeing a jack on the river and making the biggest fold of the entire tournament. The other player went in for almost 90,000, which would have crippled us. We sit back and regroup and end up calling a min raise with 8-9 off. The board comes out completely blank for us besides a straight draw that doesn't hit, and we end up bluffing on the river and taking it down. And after this, we go card dead for what feels like an eternity. And then we end up waking up with one of my favorite hands, 10 jack suited, and we flop the flush draw right away. We bet the whole way. We missed the entire board, and unfortunately we get called. And immediately we get more clubbed, this time a jack and a king, and we end up betting the whole way on another draw heavy board, and we miss everything all over again and get hit again. The face cards keep coming, and we keep betting, and luckily this time we hit the turn, and we are good against pocket 6s on the river, thank God. And after a little dry spell, we get 7-8 of spades. We end up raising the pre-flop, we get 3-bet, and we decide to look at the flop. We get middle pair, we river 2-pair, we check it the whole way, and luckily we're good. Some hands later, we decide to call with 4-5 off on the button. We end up bluffing the flop, turning the straight draw, and then we end up hitting nothing on the river, bluffing it, and luckily everybody folds. We sit out knowing that the last rebuy is imminent, and then after that we wake up with ace-jack suited. We end up missing the flop, and one really fishy player ends up shoving, and I thought about it for a while. I contemplated a fold, and I end up calling. We end up hitting nothing, and unfortunately he doubles up on us. After this, we end up going card dead for a long while, and then eventually we get so bored we decide to play 3-6 suited. After we limp the flop and miss everything, we bet the whole way, and luckily he folds and we take down a big one. Very next hand, we get pocket 6s, and we decide to put these new bullets to use. Right on the flop, we get a set. They end up shoving, and luckily the board comes clean and we double up huge. We're not done there. Next hand we get pocket 10s, the same player shoves and we knock them out. Luckily not long after we get pocket jacks, we call, we flop the straight, we knock another player out. From here we hit the longest card dead streak. I was staying out of the action obviously because we're getting to the end, and then I get my favorite hand, pocket 4s. Short stack shoves, we decide to call, we miss the flop. Big stack puts a lot of money in and we decide to stay out of it. A little of this and a little of that, and we get ace 3 off. We decide to look at a flop, we get an ace high board, we call the whole way, and luckily our little ace holds up. Next we get another ace, but we have a kicker this time. We bet, the board comes 2 jacks, we bet again, and luckily nobody calls, take down, easy money. The deja vu hands, we get ace queen again and do another jack high board, bet it again, and everybody folds again. I couldn't believe it. And now that Groundhog's Day is over, we get 10 jack off. The whole table limps and we get a miracle board, jack 5-5. We bet, everybody folds, and we take down. Hands fly by as we can see the end in sight, and then we get ace king off. We call the pre-flop raise, we miss the flop, we hit the turn, we bet the river, and they give up on it. At this point, we're so close to day 2. We have such a big stack, we hit the cruise control. We sit back until we end up getting pocket deuces. We end up getting a pre-flop raise, we call the minimum raise, and we look at a flop, and then sensing ace king, we decide to bet into the board, and luckily he folds. Next hand we get ace 5 off. We end up looking at the wheel draw on the flop, 3 players, we lose one on the flop. Other better bets to the river, checks the river, and then his 10s hold up. Shortly after this is when we get the good news. We made day 2. We'll see y'all there Sunday, everybody.